Hey, everybody. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining Immigration Lawyers Podcast, part of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox Network, episode number 261. It's going to be a fun one today. We're doing Ask Me Anything with my wonderful associate and co host, Anya Sergeyeva. Anya, how are you doing?
Hi everyone. Hi John. I'm doing fine. How are you today? It's so early. You woke me up for a special episode. So it's gonna be a lot of fun, guys. So please stay tuned.
Yeah, I look forward to it. We got some good questions in, and yeah, it is early here right now. It's 5:30 a.m. Pacific time. I have the new baby, which is like I wake up this time anyways, but usually I get some sleep beforehand. But I'm waking up early without any sleep, so we'll talk about all that kind of stuff. But before we do start, I do want to mention the conference is coming up. Probably going to focus on O1s. What I'd like you to do if you're interested in just expanding yourself and with learning the law and adding a practice area, but also the intimate networking and mentorship and camaraderie and friendships and connections that you want to make as an immigration lawyer. Go to the RSVP page. It's Immigration Lawyers Toolbox /conference. And RSVP, we're going to update the agenda and the price and stuff. Don't worry about that. Just let me know. Give me your email or just email me too. And so that we can keep you on the list to keep you live on the updates. It's going to be in winter, probably February. It's going to be a lot of fun there. Also want to let you know the magazine is out. Check out the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine at immigrationlawyerstoolbox.com. Thank you to our sponsors, particularly DocWise, who's always been so helpful with the podcast and the sponsorship. You get 10% off their annual plan by going to docwise.com/immigration-lawyers-podcast and using the code immigration lawyers podcast and get the proper help you need with your case management software. It's going to save you a lot of time. There was a AILA listserv group where people are talking about document management stuff, and people are like, "I love DocWise; they're the best. They save me so much time." So it's a lot of rave reviews all around. I'll look forward to that. Other than that, it's not legal advice. We're not going to talk about law today, so don't need that warning. But so Anya, let's jump into it. What questions do we have?
Okay, so we have a lot of questions. You didn't feel like it asking all these questions yourself. So that's what I'm here for. I will be playing the role of the interviewer. I'm not an Oprah, but I'll try my best. So the first question is right on topic. Okay, so John, why are you waking up so damn early?
Well, it's one of my favorite things to do. I feel like it feels like a superpower waking up this early. I'm not a night person. After like 8 or 9, I can't really think straight. So I can't. We need more time as lawyers because there's so much going on. And so I'm like, okay, I just got to make up for the morning because I'm a morning person anyways. And so I started waking up early, like at 6, and kind of sleeping less. And I realized I was always trying to sleep 8 hours a day, like they tell you to do. But whenever I try to do that, I get more tired. And once I cut it down, I was only sleeping like 5 or 6 hours. I have more energy throughout the day. And I keep reading these books. There's a book by Tony Robbins about health. And they say it's like damaging not to sleep that much. But whenever I sleep more, like the normal quote unquote sleeping, I just get super tired. So it's been good. And now I wake up at 3:34 ish, and it's really because I get so much work done in the morning that I feel like I'm doing drugs, get high. By 7 a.m., when the kids wake up, life gets started, I've already done most of the work I need to do for the day. And the rest of the day is more relaxed and leisurely. And that high from that is so strong that like I'm addicted to it. So I can't wait to wake up early in the morning. But now with the baby, it's tough because like he wakes up every couple hours, the screams and stuff like that. So, but it's just one of those things. Like I know what my goals in life are and what I'm doing stuff for. So it just there's a super enthusiasm just to get up and do it every day. Between the law firm growing that, which you're part of, and also the Toolbox, the conference and stuff, a lot of work to be done, but it's super exciting with the long-term plans. In a sense, I can't wait to get up in the morning.
So do you wake up with an alarm or you just like by yourself up at 4 a.m.? Like how
By
does
myself, usually it's 3:30, and then I tell them to close my eyes, like try to get another half an hour in there, so I can at least get out by 4. But yeah, no alarm, just natural. The key is, getting into bed by 9, and that's the thing. So that's to wake up early, you got to go to bed earlier, and so it's the 9 a.m. going. I fall asleep probably at 9:30 or 10, but being in bed at 9, trying to shut off the electronics by 8, which I don't get to a lot of times, but no more electronics after. Actually, no more work after 8, and then no more electronics after 9, and that's the routine.
Yeah, one more piece of advice, if you want to like shut off electronics, just shut off your Wi-Fi after 8 and that's it. Everyone is done in the house. Okay, thank you. The next question that we have, um, we said we're not going to talk about law today. We're just going to talk a little bit about law still. So, what is immigration law for you?
Oh, it's a question. Now, I've read through these questions briefly, but none of them have I thought through the answer. So it's all going to be on the cuff. But immigration law to me is just this great opportunity to do something that's it's a puzzle to solve. So I've always been a person that likes doing puzzles and stuff like that, and it's a fun way to think every day about strategizing and thinking about something new, along with dealing with and working with people that are really interesting. So it's between the puzzle aspect of it, which keeps me on my toes and thinking, and the people that are involved. And first it's always been like their clients, which are always really interesting. But now that we have a team with JK Law, with yourself and all the rest of our team, then it's like just working with people, talk to people I like, and helping everyone grow together. So law is it's really a development of myself and people around me, and challenges every day. I'm not like a per se like immigration advocate of like going to the streets or ALA's thing where they go to Congress people or stuff at the border. That's not my thing. But I just like dealing with immigrants in particular. Just fun people to work with, and the law is interesting. So for me, immigration law is just a way to do the brain stuff I like to do, thinking and meeting interesting people.
Nice. Very interesting. So I know before really starting practicing immigration law, you used to do a lot of different things, like
Yeah.
selling insurance, right? Is that
Yeah.
what part of the of this long journey to immigration law? Can you tell
Well,
us about
well, when I graduated law school, I didn't want to practice law, and so I was like, I got into investing. It was right when the market crashed, so I invested and everything went up just because the timing was so good. But then, like that became harder to do. And I was looking for a job, and then so there was an insurance salesman. I was like, okay, let's go here. And then it was like door to door insurance. So I signed up for that, but then I'm like, okay, this is like not the work at the law degree. I could do much more of this, so I stopped that. But selling that kind of insurance. I did a lot of things. Helped run a restaurant. I did everything I could to not be a lawyer. And that's the beauty thing about immigration law. I fell into something um, that the only thing I could do. I couldn't do court work or PI work. It's not fun for me. I don't like showing up court. I like some transactional stuff, the stuff that we do, which is USCIS and consular kind of stuff. And I just got lucky that I fell into that because I couldn't do any other aspect of law. That's why I've doubled and tripled down. Everything I do is immigration law because something I could do and I like, and that's it. So I just focus on that.
Wow, that's great. Um, so what do you like the most in practicing immigration law, and what do you dislike the most in practicing immigration law? As we're talking
So,
about.
just the easy answer, just like one aspect of it is just deal with the agencies and how inconsistent they are, how late they are, how much troubles they give us. Like that really annoys me because it really messes with people's lives, our clients. And like, we have people that are like sick and need to come here, their family needs their help, and they just drag their feet, help us. It's horrible. But right now, what has turned to what I like the most is kind of what I dislike the most now too. Like for all this time, I've been doing everything myself, especially case management, client management. And now that we're growing and we have more cases, it's harder and harder to do the hands-on people face-to-face stuff. But we're in the process of transitioning where like I'm not the direct contact with people. So I really enjoy our clients and talking with them, but it creates a lot of burden on me that to do that and all the stuff we have to do. So it's turning into, I can't say hate, but that's something that troubles me the most because like when clients want to talk with me, it's like I got 50 other things to deal with. And so, that's part of the job I enjoy a lot. I just can't do it anymore. So that comes a lot of pressure, try to juggle all of these kind of stuff. But we're learning the process of transitioning. So people, work with you and OAS and everyone else. It's just a step-by-step process. It's a transition whenever a company's growing to make that. So that's the big thing right now. That's, there's a love-hate relationship, love-hate thing going on with that.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same. When especially when there are some cases when you try your best and still they like you say yes, they don't want to listen to you, they don't want to approve, for example, your expedite request when
Yeah.
the client is in desperate need, you know and you hear these other stories when people go pro se and they just get their things done super fast, and this is really really frustrating sometimes.
Yeah. We had to we have this one case where a guy's kid is not doing well, and we've done 50 different things. It's pro bono at this point. Probably like $20,000 in legal fees, just like doing everything, and they just won't budge. It's sad. And then like there was an IA24 case where we had a consult with guy did on himself, got approved in 3 months, and we have like all these IA24s, 6, 9 months pending. It's like, hey, what's going on here? What's this inconsistency about? It's so annoying.
Yeah, so we have the next question. When I see the word philosophy, it seems something very boring to me, but I'm still gonna ask this question. Maybe you're gonna be able to, um, give some light and lighten up for us. So, what is your philosophy of practice?
Okay, that's just a question. Again, I wish I kind of wish I thought these more through. I'm like, let me just think about the cuff. But um, one thing that's really important to me is we do a job that's about people at the end of the day. There's always an individual whose life is going to be changed. Coming to America or being forced not to come or have to leave America is a life in that situation. When I was graduating law school, I was thinking about moving away from America because when the economy was crashing, and I thought America was just going to hell in a handbasket, and it kind of has been since then, but not as bad as I thought it'd be or as
Hey
fast.
guys, if you don't know, John had plans to, I think, move to Chile or something like that.
Yeah, I was looking at their immigration program. They had like a high-end worker kind of program. I was going to just get out of here, try something new. But then I started working at an immigration law firm just temporarily, just to make money. And then I saw like damn, like however bad it is here, it still sucks everywhere else. With all the stuff that we see how in the news of politics and like the stuff they say about America being the worst. Like, dude, I've been around the world. Like we're talking about racism. It's like everywhere is much more racist in America. This is like nothing compared to how bad it is everywhere else.
It's always
Um,
good to compare. It's always good to compare because
Yeah, especially
uh,
immigration lawyers got us know like we have clients that are escaping like massively racist or bad situations. So whatever is here, it is much worse. That's a fact. I've just seen it. So and so uh, the philosophy is people's lives are at risk. Even when you do employment based cases, people are investing or their lives. They have kids here, or they already have kids here, and they have an extension. If it doesn't work, they got to move, and the kids may be 10 or 15 their whole life. They can't see it. So it's really personal. So I always thought I want to have a practice personal. And frankly, if people listen to this podcast are in this vein, our listeners, it's like we want to give a different experience. It's not about the volume of people that just come in and out and not care about them. And so I always took an old fashioned kind of doctor that comes to your house and takes a look at you and knows the family and knows all the details. That's a right way to practice. Inevitably, there are companies that need, need to file 500 H-1Bs. And so you're going to lose touch with clients. So there is a need for that. But for a lot of stuff, especially marriage cases, I see too much nonsense where lawyers and law firms don't even know who the clients are. They just fill out the paperwork. It's like they don't even know who the people are doing. And it gets worse than that because I'm not knowing them. There's no attention to them. There's too many errors in the application. There's always going to be errors because the forms are so bad, but it's so long. But this philosophy is that these are person's lives. We're doctors doing surgery, and you got to give it all. And you see those doctors sometimes. This is where I got it from. Where I'd go to doctors and they were just doing numbers. There was a top dermatologist who's here in Century City in LA who I'd go to, and as I was going there as a kid growing up, his practice got bigger and bigger. He got more famous to a point that like when I'd walk in, he would just wave to me, and assistant would do everything, and I get a bill from a doctor. And it was so impersonal. When he'd come in, he was like, looking up, looking at his phone kind of thing. I'm like, this is disgusting. I don't want to come to this guy anymore, even though he's considered one of the best, yada, yada, yada. And so I'm like, whatever I do, and this was when I was a kid, when I was like in college, I was like, whatever I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure it's gonna be personal attention, and I'm gonna stay up on the rule on what's going on. So many doctors, I'm reading this book that was saying like every 18 months, everything you learn in medical school it's not valid anymore because things change so dramatically. And we see this in lawyers too. I did not stand on top of the law. So the aspect was even turn down cases if I don't have time because I need to keep up on the law. That's a big part of the podcast too, where I share the things I learned and stuff. There's too much to learn. If you're not doing that, then you're failing. You're not being the advocate that you need to be. And that's why I have this, we're going to probably have a question about this, but they have this podcast and we have like listeners that this is what they have. You yourself as a listener, you want to take things to the next level. You just don't want to do the bare minimum. And that's the difference between a okay, good to a great immigration lawyer is wanting to take it to the next level, both on the personal experience and then both on understanding of the legal implications and laws that change. And so hopefully the toolbox provides us helps on that ground, and that's what our listeners are all about.
yeah, so you're actually like moving in the opposite direction from where the industry is moving because now it's more like 10 paralegal or like 20 paralegals, one attorney. You know, um, It's and so how hard is it like to think outside of the box, because everyone else is doing one thing and you are like trying to go like completely opposite direction. How does it feel?
I mean, it's hard when I look at the numbers because like we could be much more profitable on a per case basis. And especially as we grow, our profitability is going to keep getting sunk. So it on a business sense, yeah, it doesn't make sense to do that. Yeah, having 10 paralegals who communicate with, and people don't talk to lawyers, you're going to make money. You could have massive margins. So on a business sense, as we're growing, I constantly put a number, see how this makes sense. It's doable. I mean, it's one of those things you can make a lot of money, or you're going to make a lot of money with lawyers. We're going to make good money. But I can make a lot of money if I do that. And probably clients won't know the better per se, but I'm just not comfortable with that. I don't think that's the right way to practice for me. Again, everyone's got different things. Everyone does, if someone's doing, 50 vowel cases where they're dealing with people who are like, emotionally disturbed. We don't handle a lot of humanitarian cases because of that, because it's just too emotional, and we get so caught up in this kind of practice. We can't do that. So I can't say someone's doing it wrong if they're doing 50 vowel cases and they can't get caught up in the emotions of 50 different abused spouses. So with the stuff that we do with marriage, with employment stuff, we could do that in the way we do employment stuff. But it's a financial hit. But I think it's worth it. It just helps me sleep at night knowing that we always have 2 to 3 immigration lawyers on a case when a lot of firms barely have one looking at him. But that's the level of service, and client clients know that. And that's how we differentiate ourselves. Essentially, we're the Ferrari of law firms. People could get a Ford Escort. It'll probably get you where you need to go. But if you want the highest notch, Mercedes, BMW, blah blah, that's what we're here for. And I think as automation happens, as more and more things done by computer, that's the stuff that stays too. So it's a short term hit, it's a medium term hit financially, but in the long term, as things get automated and a lot of stuff for lawyers, goes out the window where computers are doing it. That's the way we're going to keep ourselves going, is because we have this concierge personal service and that differentiates us. So I've used an example before. People go and get their factory manufactured furniture from IKEA, and IKEA is doing great. And a lot of furniture salespeople are all out of business that I see on Ventura Boulevard when I'm driving. However, there's luxury furniture people that charge 30 times the price, and people are lining up still to buy it, the high-end leather and stuff. So I'm like, the way we could keep ourselves relevant and going is by being on the high-end market. And frankly, our prices seem high-end, but I get, like, we talk every once in a while, or like we'll have clients who fire their lawyer and come to us, and I'll see their prices, and they're twice as much as us. So I always think we're pretty much a price or average. We should be raising our prices. But I think it's good price that we have, and probably I will be raising our prices. But that's the mindset. So also when it comes to our service, is the same thing. Like we had an associate who sent out an email asking a client to do something. Immediately I responded. I'm like, dude, that's not 5-star service. We could do that. And so and it wasn't you, Anya, but it's like we have to, like, everything we always got to think about. If we're a hotel and we're thinking about going from 4 to 5 stars to be the number one, what can we do? And think about it, if we're going to go from 5 to 6 stars, how would that look like? And then 7, 8, 10. There's no such thing as a 10-star hotel. But if we were a 10-star hotel, what would it be? It would be probably we fly over and we pick up our client and we just like carry him to America. So it's like, what could be the next over the top level that we could be a great service so that our clients are wowed by what we do and fall in love with us. And if you look at reviews for JK Law Firm, it's just people love us. And so that's that. Everyone who's only bad reviews are people who didn't want to pay a consultation fee. Who are, I can't believe this guy's consultation fee. But all the reviews are like stellar, and people love us. So and it's like, how can we get that even better? Where they just obsessed with us. So say this is like the greatest service I've ever got in my life. And so always thinking about that.
When you think about this business model, it might be unpopular, but like to me, I think this is something that can really be compete with the like artificial intelligence services. All this. I'm not gonna name them, but you all know them, guys. That you can just go and do it kind of DUI or yourself.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, because people are still people need to communicate, people still need to talk, and they want to talk to you. We have clients who send us like emails and constantly, and we answer these questions. We don't charge for per email, like this point 06 increments or stuff like that.
Yeah.
Flat fees, but we hold our clients hands through the whole process. And yes, it's not cheap, but a lot of people who is a need for it. So, and we cover this kind of gap that other firms don't provide. So
Yeah, you said there's a disproportionate number here who are worried, people who are worried about just worrying, and so but that's what we're here for, so you can help them sleep at night. And so, what's the value of you not freaking out overnight about something where you can just jump on a call with us or email and like we'll tell you what it is, so you don't have to worry because people worry about the craziest things. So that's a service that we provide. And then I was gonna say something else, but I forgot what it was. But that's the thing. It's just a different little service for a specific type of clientele. We're fill that niche.
yeah, as I mentioned previously, this boring question turned into like 10 minutes explanation. So let's just move forward. We don't have much time here. I know people don't want to listen to something longer than 30 minutes. So, John, you graduated cum laude, right? From
From UCLA, yeah, political
yes,
science. Yeah.
yes. So, what is the best advice you can give to a 3L?
Okay, so I didn't graduate from law school. Law school, I did terrible.
Okay.
When I started law school, like on the first test, I was like the one or two student in class, and I was like, oh, this is easy. So I stopped studying after that, and then everyone ran me over. I thought it was like college, where if you do good on the first test, you're just gonna keep doing good. But so I kind of I got turned off by law when I was in law school, um, I, but when it comes to practicing law, the 3L, I mean, the real thing is just learn how to talk with people, communicate, be a better person, have better friendships, better your family, talk with people, just become a better speaker and just person when it comes to communications and social aspects. That's the number one thing I would talk about. The reason like we close a lot of cases when I'm in a consultation with clients, I could talk with them and just talk about life, and that's what gets a client more that they like you more than anything else. So it's just like, oh, I like this guy, like I'll hire him. That's what it is. So
Yeah,
the
but
more
most
likely
of
you
the
are, the
time
better.
they agree to pay the fees. They don't. They
Yeah,
don't care. At this point. They don't care how much it costs.
yeah.
They,
Our clients like from before they come to contact us because of the marketing method we have online, they like in love with us. Like I have clients who just can't wait to say. They say, where do I need to sign? I'm like, oh, hold back. I need to see if you have any disability issues. I need to explain the process. They're just eager to sign. So that's the thing. Like, how could you make it where people really like you? Now, not everyone's gonna like me, and it's not like everybody contacts me like me. But with the marketing method we have, of the 1,000 people that could watch a video, the 5 or so that or 10 that are really into it will find us and do it, and they'll connect with our personalities. Just being yourself. And a lot of, I mean, the people who listen to this podcast, we have regular listeners. We have like at least 500 regular listeners. They just kind of connect with the way I produce my material and the way I talk. And it's probably get turned off by who don't listen. But when you find your community and your niche and you connect with them, it's just, sky's the limit.
yeah, great answer. I would add a couple things. Maybe like try to train your not train, but get the soft skills that you can utilize in any kind of profession. It's kind of the same as what
Yeah.
you just said, because knowing how to talk to people. My husband, he's a salesperson, so he knows how to sell, but he can utilize this in like anywhere he goes, anything that he does. You know, so it's a great suggestion.
Sales is the most important thing, and to kind of get it by some people have it innately. Like my second son, he's like turning 3 next month, and he's just so happy and talkative. He goes to like everyone he meets and he says hi and waves to them. And like 9 out of 10 times, like other kids will ignore him. And then actually, sometimes like there'll be like a 5-year-old girl is like, "Who are you? Get away from me!" But then every once in a while, like there'll be someone that says hi and they become friends. And it's like it's sales. You got to go through a lot of low stuff. Say hi and smile. Be nice. And he does it instinctively. But if you know sales, like that solves. You can go anywhere in the world and you'll still be doing good. So that's the more important than legal skills. Like it's just do sales. There's a lot of immigration lawyers, frankly, who are terrible immigration lawyers, but they do great sales and marketing. And then they have other lawyers that do the work. They're not even on top of what's going on. Like I see their videos, they stuff wrong on there. But their job is just do sales. So if you're a lawyer, you do sales, you can just hand it to a colleague or associate or operations manager to do the rest of it. That's really the most important skill. So that's law schools, they don't teach that, but that's taught, but it's also learned from just volume. Like I used to take all my phone calls. So I've had over 10 or 15,000 phone calls I've taken. So I've learned the hard way of how to talk with people and be nice and have not leave a bad review when you're trying to get off the phone and stuff like that. So a lot of it just, you got to keep doing it. Consultation, this and that, keep talking to people until you get better at it.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's move forward. There's some fun stuff coming up. So, can you tell us about your family?
Oh, sure. So, my family's originally from Iran. I was born and raised here. I did live in Iran for a couple of years. My parents got divorced, and so my dad got custody and went there. And it was a pretty terrible experience because like I'm American, I didn't speak the language. All of a sudden, overnight, I had to go and live with my dad, who I wasn't living with at the time. And it was like a couple years of hell for me. But at the same time, there's two aspects. It forced me to learn to speak a second language, which has been really helpful for starting my practice. Not much anymore, but when I started, it was really important knowing a second language. And then secondly, it just got me used to just adversity. Like, listen, life isn't always what you want it to be. And I just got to make a decision to make things happen. So as difficult as it was, I'm like, I'm going to go to school. I got good grades. Pretty much, I was going to school with people that are natives there in Iran. I was getting better grades than they were. So it's just because I'm like, if I'm going to be here, I got to do it right. I got to study, learn the language, and deal with the emotional toll of all that, which it takes years to fix that if you can. And then it came back here, work hard. So and then eventually, got married. Have my wife. She's originally from Iran as well. But got my third kid now. We'll love to have more, but it's just hard having kids. It's a lot of work, but I love having a big family. Just happy here. Small. My extended family is really small in general, but I was hoping to make a bigger family myself.
Okay, so your extended Iranian family is pretty big, right? You have like how
No,
many?
we're very small. So now I have like on my dad's side, I have an aunt and uncle. They live in Germany and France up there, and I have two uncles on my mom's side. They live in Canada and Iran. But that's about it. They've small family, like relative to people from the area who have like 10 kids usually.
Yeah.
And so I have some sporadic cousins here or there, but not much. So I'm really happy. I have three kids. My sister has two kids, so we have five cousins there. Hopefully, they can keep growing it and take from there. So they have this support system. It's really important.
Yes, kids, one of the best investments
Yeah.
you can do. You can invest in your kids. Okay, let's move to the next question. So, how does your regular day look like by hours?
So it's hard to do a regular day because like everything's but an ideal day or average day is kind of like wake up at 3:30 and by 4 be at my home office, which is just the laundry room other side of the house, and have a juice and make tea, and then just
You don't have breakfast at 3:30 a.m., right? You don't have.
no, it's kind of like a fasting kind of thing too. I have breakfast with my kids when they come at 7, but at 4 for first hour usually. Like today we have our meeting, so it's like a little bit different. But I just answer emails. The goal is to work on something which I've been putting off. But a lot of times we have so many emails, and plus emails are exciting because it's overnight. Like, hey, I want to schedule a consultation. I'm like, ka-ching, ka-ching, we got business. So I like going over my emails. But do that, take your cases, and then usually there's 1 or 2 meetings or consultations. Because I do consultations at like 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning to Los Angeles time.
Yeah, there are people who sign up for that. So
Yeah, it actually helped that because we have international clientele. So people in like across the world, it's a better time for them than anything else. And then so have cases and then office management. Then the kids wake up around 6:37, make breakfast, hang out with them for an hour or two, take them to school. So that's the first business side. They come back at 9, 9 to 12, more meetings, more office stuff. 12, take a lunch break and kind of relax because at that point I've pretty much worked 6 or 7 hours. So my day is pretty much done. But I'll put another hour or two in the afternoon. Then I have a trainer come in, we work out and stuff like that. And then after that, go pick up the kids. And then pretty much, from 5 to 7 to 8 with the kids. And then may get half an hour to an hour of another work after that. Then go to bed and try to go to sleep. So I have like 4 sections to the day. The first 2 are like 3 hours long working. The subsequent ones are between 1 to 2 hours each. So it fills up. It essentially turns into a basic 8-hour day, but I mean it's lawyer 8 hours, so it's like full 8 hours, no kind of breaks, intense kind of stuff.
I feel like you work all the time, and the next question is, what do you do when you're not working? And again, like I feel that you are there, even like Saturday, Sunday, I get constant emails, constant messages. So, John, tell us, what do you do with?
Yeah, this schedule is like Monday through Monday, so I don't usually like to take time off because there's a lot to do and I like doing it. I try to force myself. Now on the weekends, I try to take the kids out, but the phone is always there, so I like to give fast response, especially to clients. So they're like, wow, I can't believe this attorney we get. So that's one thing we got to work on as a marketing, because like most lawyers will wait a day or 2 or a week to respond. That's the most frustrating thing about lawyers. And a lot of lawyers, like, I never give my client my cell phone and don't answer so quickly. But I'm like, no, we give immediate responses. That's very few. It's like a rare thing in the field. So we got to work on our markets so people know that. So when they're paying for this extra value that they don't get other places. But a lot of time, my spare time is with the kids. And then exercising, pool, tennis, or fitness, and training and stuff. Playing the guitar, playing piano. Try to sneak it in here or there. But my mind is on immigration law and practice of immigration and business stuff. It's the biggest, funnest thing I have. Like, I love doing it. So between the law firm stuff, and then also the Toolbox, like this conference is a lot of work, and I constantly have to think about it because I want to have like the best. So like I originally I was gonna have this like 5 different visa category thing, but I'm like, that's too broad. I want to narrow it down. And like, you know what? I'll do this multi thing where it's like we go city to city, and for a year or two do like 10 different smaller conference or workshops, and just do across the country. So I'm like, oh, this would be great. So we have really focused stuff, because so many times we go to these conferences and we only get like, okay, I barely learn anything, but like I really want you to learn a cover letter beginning to end to do it. And so, but that I had all these plans, spend 40 hours thinking about that, scratch that, go new. And then now that it's newer, less people are signing up. So it's like, okay, I went and looked at a bunch of hotels that fit 100 people. And now I'm looking for rooms that are nice for 10 or 20. And then it's like the hotels I was getting at, they're really expensive. But when it's 10, 20 people, we don't really need all that space. So now I'm like, okay, maybe not a hotel. So, and then with LA traffic, going to visit all these hotels and nice places in Santa Monica, it's like an hour going there, an hour back from where I live in the valley. So it's like it requires a lot of work, but it's just so fun. Once we get this conference running, we're going city to city, Las Vegas, Miami, Denver, Houston, or Austin, or New York, Washington, D.C. It's gonna be a lot of cool having this. So I want to get this done excited, and I'll bring my family too, so it'll be like vacations too. So when you're this excited about the work you do, it's like I want to get it done faster. How can we do it? How can we
Yes,
get it done?
everyone who listens. So basically, John works all the time. Even when he doesn't work, he really works. But you have to find time for yourself. So you have to go for vacation. You have to do like self-care days,
Yeah,
something like that. This is very important in our field. Not to burn out, to see typos. Because sometimes when you work too much, you just don't see anything. It happens to me. When I work too much, I stop
well, that's why
seeing.
I have you. You've been excellent and
Yeah.
pick up on the team because you catch
Thank
all.
you.
I have a lot of typos.
Thank you, John. Yeah, but it's important. It's very important to rest for all of us. It's very like high demand and field that we do, and having good quality vacation or just like some day offs is very very important for us to keep our minds sharp. So um,
That's a good
yeah,
point.
yeah.
You've been pushing that on me too. So the weekends I've been less
I'm
active.
trying. I'm trying. I'm trying. Yeah, but
Thing is, like the time off is like taking the kids out, and mentally it's a lot of fun. So there's a mental rest, not thinking about law. And one thing is, when I go to sleep now, like at 8, my brain keeps going to law. I'm like, don't think about work. Think about breathing. Think about games or videos or movies or something like that. Whenever it seeps up after like 8 or 9 in my head to think about work, I like, don't think about it, because it's gonna keep me up for no reason. But yeah, with the kids, like it's physically draining. But I'll be honest, I'm hitting 39 in a couple of months. Like I've never had so much energy before. So there's enthusiasm about what we do and the success. And also I've been exercising. So I have a personal trainer, and I'm eating well, and like really focusing on that. So I cut dairy. I think that thanks to your help. Like actually the other day, like my kids have these cheese stuff, like these mozzarella sticks, and my kid like brought a bunch of them out of the fridge. And I'm like, he kept forcing me to eat it. So I ate one, and for 2 days, I felt like throwing up. I'm like, I'm not used to eating concentrated cheese like that anymore.
Yeah, it really helps. I cut off dairy, meat, and gluten products, and I have never felt better in my whole life. So just no medical advice here. We're not doctors. Consult with your physician, stuff like that. But sometimes when you think about this, like how it can help you, but when you try, it really helps, and you're like, oh my god, like I lived all my life, I didn't know. So yeah, just a quick tip here. Okay, so we'll have the most juicy part for till the end. So everyone, please stay. So we have two more questions. The biggest immigration fuck up of yours. Very interesting. I wanna learn about that too because I don't know the answer.
Oh, there's malpractice. So I'll tell this one. This is one that the first one really. When I started working, I was working for lawyers and stuff. And one thing I was doing, I was helping with EB1A extraordinary ability case preparation. So the lawyer got a case, and I was just working on the criteria and like do they awards and stuff like that. I was organizing it, and the client was dragging their feet giving it. So it's constantly like they send stuff a review, we ask questions, wait another 2 weeks. And this went on for months and months. And it was an easy case in the sense that the person was the biggest celebrity in their home country, literally the number one celebrity. So it was easy. It's just we had to like get certain documents. And then so by the time I got the package ready, then I went to do the I-140. And when we did that, I saw his kid had aged out like a week earlier. And so I remember I wanted to throw up. I remember it was like just practically everyone's had these kind of issues, so they know that feeling in your stomach where you like feel like crap. Like it was just like it's a just horrible feeling. Now it wasn't technically my fault because I didn't even know the kids. I mean, I should have probably started now with the I-140 first, but I was like, I-140 is just a technical aspect. I'm work for the hard parts. The attorney that was on the case, I mean, should have, you got to get that's, and you learn from these experiences, which is always ask, do you have children? If you have children, what are their date of birth? So you have that on your calendar, not to let them age out. And then all that kind of
It's
stuff.
very important to put it on your calendar. You may ask, but not do anything with that information, but along with the other deadlines, make sure to.
I-751 deadlines, that kind of stuff. You gotta, it's so important. And so now what happened is when the guy had applied for wanting to get a green card, his popularity was waning, so he was just trying to get out of his home country. Then, like, but then he shot up again, so he didn't want to move again. So he eventually didn't even pursue it. He didn't continue it, so it wasn't as bad because like, oh, things are back to. He thought his career was going to end, so he was like trying to get out. But then things changed. But it was like it's horrible feeling. It's just a horrible gut feel, bad feeling. But it reversed. You got to think about dates. And I had another case where I wrote the wrong check amount for like a dependent, and then the dependent aged out. Luckily, we were able to somehow get it in nunc pro tunc, but that was like it was an age out. It was like their I-94 expired, and then because the check bounced, it came back. And so then by the time we resent it, it was already I-94 expired, but nunc pro tunc, they approved it. But that was a terrible feeling too. So I have like the biggest problems like that pop up for me are writing the check the wrong amount, putting the wrong date on the check. Like it'll be 2022, I'll put 2020, or mailing it to mailing to the wrong place. I do that sometimes, but it doesn't once a year. But like it doesn't come out back because USCIS reroutes it. But the check issues is bad because like I'll write. So that's why I always have you. We use credit cards, and then we went to credit cards full time, except if it's an emergency case. But I always have you review, like if I write a check, I'm like, please look at this to make sure I wrote it right, because my eyes will glaze over the date or the name or something being wrong. And so that's the kind of mistakes that I make. Typos are my biggest
Yeah,
thing.
that's why it's very important to have like couple pair of eyes on every case, to avoid this kind of
Yeah.
issues. But thank you, John, for sharing that. And it's very important to share not only positive experience again in our profession, but negative parts too, because usually people tend to just, hey, I got this approved, hey, I got this approved, but no one talks about the bad stuff. But it's still there. Everyone does mistakes, and for example, if you do a mistake, we all have been there. We all had this gut feeling that you were just talking about. And yeah, sometimes you can fix it, so it doesn't really count. Sometimes you cannot fix it, but
Yeah.
you can always reach out to colleagues, and see. Sometimes again, you can do something about it. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it, and you just have to live with it. And again, this is part of our profession and who we
Yeah.
are.
Everyone's gonna do it. I mean, you got to be on top of it so it doesn't happen. But inevitably, like at least probably once every 1 or 2 years, there's gonna be a mess up, and hopefully it's not a mess up that it's one you can clean up. But it's like doctors and surgeons do mistakes too, and they kill patients. So it's
Exactly. That's
even if
that's what helps me. I think I have a friend. She works at the what is called ICU. She's a nurse, and she's ICU nurse. And if she does a mistake, someone can die. And I'm like, okay, if I do a mistake, yes, someone may not immigrate to the United States. And it kind of helps me on the psychological level to deal with this part. Yeah.
but at the same time, like a lot of people become numb to it, and oh yeah, whatever, because like especially like doctors, they have to kind of like kill that feeling because it's gonna cause them not to be able to do anything if they worry. Like when I've had these kind of mess ups, I kind of like I want to quit. I just want to do this anymore. So that's happened in my head, but it's like it is what it is. Like things happen. You got to keep going. But it's yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. So the last question we have for today. So the most bizarre immigration interview you attended.
Oh boy, the most bizarre one is just I'm not sure how detailed to go, but essentially people in LA know about this. I won't not bad. This is reality. Like there's one officer who yells at everybody for no reason. It's out of control. I'll keep saying the officer to keep it neutral, gender neutral. But and like I had one where we went. There was a case where I told the client I don't want to come because your case is open and shut. But he's like, no, no, I want you to come. So we went there, and from the beginning, the officer started yelling at us about everything. He's like, sit down there, da, 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 yelling, and then like he asked the wife, like, oh, could you like hand me your taxes? And I was on the guy's side. He's like, here you go. He's like, I didn't ask you. You were like asked her for the tax return. Like, I'm like, I was looking. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And so, like, the case was so clean. I'm like, I'm just gonna argue this person because there's nothing going wrong here. But my clients are freaking out. And actually, like, the wife did remember something, so the husband jumped in and answered. It's like, I've had enough of you. Get out of here. She kicked him out of the room and went. It's like, go wait in the waiting room. He's like, it's kind of like at school when teachers get angry and will kick you out of class, and students will be like, oh, what's this? Like, it's one of those things. And I'm like, and so the guy left. The wife looked at me, and I looked at her. I'm like, it's okay. Like, and nothing wrong with your case. So we got out of that, and I was going to file a complaint. So I talked with a bunch of colleagues, and they're like, oh, we've complained against this person 5 or 6 times. One person said we went to the manager. Manager's like, I can't get rid of this person. Nothing I can do about it. And so I'm like, oh, it is what it is. I didn't bother filing a complaint. And it took a month. And so at 30 days, nothing happened. I sent her a letter. So listen, this case is clean. Why does it not take so long? Once you got the letter, no, I guess I identified the gender, but she approved the case like as soon as the letter arrived. But it was just so unnecessary to be that combative. There was another case actually for naturalization. This was another case where I didn't need to go to. The client wanted me to come. In both these cases, you know, a lot of times I don't go to interviews nowadays because going to interview takes so much time. I don't even want to go a lot of times, but it's better I go because, like in this case, if the client went there and the officer was freaking out like this, they would have called me just like completely losing their mind, like, oh, we're gonna get denied. I'm freaking out, and I wouldn't have understood what he meant. I'm like, is it possible for the officer to be this unhinged and out of control? But it could be. But by being there and afterwards saying, listen, I was there, everything's okay. The officer was out of control, but you're okay. It helped out. This is another case, naturalization, where we sat there and the officer got a file and then people can't see it, but essentially picked it up and slammed it on his table. And we slammed it, his tchotchkes fell over. So one by one, he put them together. And then he opened the first page and then slammed the first page open, like the folder when it opened up. The tchotchkes fell over again. He set them up. And then every page he would do that. And so the interview was like an hour and a half. An hour of it was him slamming the table and then fixing the things up afterwards. And I started like cracking up. And so I was behind kind of the monitor. I moved my head so you can't see me. I'm laughing at this guy's insane. But my client was sweating. He was like freaking out. He's like, this guy's going to deny me. He's going to deport me. And so when we went out, like I was just like, that was the craziest thing I ever seen. That this person just kept slamming the table, the things would fall over. He kept fixing it up, but he wouldn't stop slamming it every time. It's like this guy insane. What's this about? But to me, it was hilarious because I knew the case of a client's freaking out. So I was glad I was there to calm the client down afterwards, say you're good. And actually, that case took 2 months to be approved for no reason. So I had to send 2 letters, one to the officer and then one to the director saying, dude, why is this case taking so long? My client is 2 months would email me constantly saying, you know what's going on, what's happening. I'm like, you know, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's probably new and something like that. But those are the crazy situations that popped up for me during my interviews.
Okay, I think we're done. It's almost 45 minutes. So we probably do a couple more episodes. Not now, but in some time. So we can
Yeah,
just you know, to keep it at that. So thank you so much, John. It was very, very interesting. I have known you for what, like 2.5 years or something like that. And I learned a lot of new things about you today. I hope our listeners they learned about you a lot of new information too. So it was a great talk. Thank you so much for that. And I
I
hope
appreciate it. Thank you. It was fun. It was a good change of pace. And I got to put in there, if you haven't already, RSVP for the conference. This is a work of passion and love. And it's just community. So if we go there, we get to know each other better. Good referral sources, good place to ask questions, and just make more friends. Really, as we get older, it's hard to make friends. So, and when you ask me the question about what do you do for fun, I'm like, I
yeah.
used to hang out with friends, but you know, I don't do that anymore. It's something I'm trying to get back into. And most of my friends are immigration lawyers at this point because of people that we deal with. So, and you're one of my friends too. So it's good to talk with you. I'll miss you every day. But yeah, thanks so much. So that's about it. I guess we'll end it right there. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye.